Hey there, I'm Stephen J.B. Davis, your land specialist and residential realtor, and I'm making this video because I actually missed last week, so you get double trouble. And today we are talking all about conveying land and legal descriptions. Okay, so thanks for joining me. I'm sitting outside because it is a gorgeous day. We had an 80-degree day. It was probably our hottest day since 2022. I've had lots of lows. I won't bore you with too much weather, but I mean, like, look at the sun setting. Ignore the dandelions. This has never happened since I've lived here. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, I'm just watching the sun setting. I'm also having a little bit of bourbon from the Green River Distillery. They're not paying me to say anything about this. It's just a new bourbon that I got. They're based out of Owensboro. And fun fact about bourbon, in Kentucky, you can see this DSP KY10. So what that means is they were the 10th distillery to ever receive a license, a legal permission to distill bourbon. Did you hear that horse? Anyway, to distill bourbon in the state. So they're pretty old. However, this is sort of a comeback, a reboot. I'm not sure what their whole story is, but I saw it in Kroger, which is a grocery store in the Midwest and some parts of the South. I saw it on sale, and I had never had it because I haven't really seen it in many bars. So I thought, well, it's on sale now, I'll buy it. I don't generally spend. I have like kind of a mark of money that I won't spend for bourbon I've never had. And they were priced a little high for bourbon I've never had. So once it was on sale, I decided, why don't I try it? In any case, we're talking about conveyance today because I'm plotting a deed. I have all this mapping software, and I'm often making maps for my buyers and making maps for my listings so that everyone is always fully sort of informed about what it is they're buying, what area it's in, what's around it, the topography, all these different things. I've done videos on maps. I've done videos on a lot of this stuff. But I wanted to make this video to stress a certain idea. When you buy property or when you sell property, unless you've had it surveyed in order to get an accurate picture, the picture is not always going to be exact. What you're buying is a legal description. And the legal description ultimately is how property is conveyed. And that's what's on the deed. You have a deed and talks about who's selling and who's buying and for how much and what general city it's in and all of that. But at the very end of the day, regardless of address, regardless of tax ID, regardless of what a picture says on the PVA or an Onyx Hunt or whatever you're using as a consumer to find property and figure out where it is and what the property lines are, really none of that matters. Bugs are crazy. None of that matters except for the legal description. In Kentucky, we have legal descriptions that are all referential points. Out west, they do a block and lot system, so you have all these rectangles and squares and triangles that you can cut in half and use lots of really easy math, more or less, to make a legal description. It's based on a township system. So townships are 36 square miles, and they have sections in them. Sections are 640 acres apiece, or 1 square mile apiece. And you can say, an eighth of this section and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's very, very easy. It's kind of like the metric system compared to the customary system. Meets and bounds is the equivalent of the customary system and what I'm plotting out. So I've got to go from this point north 8 degrees and 30 minutes to this point, wherever. It's just point to point to point to point to point in order to create the shape that is what you're buying. And so you may think that you're conveying 80 acres, but if by the end of the day the legal description says you're actually conveying 60, well, you're getting 60. That's why surveys are important. That's why, a land specialist is important to do this kind of work for you, to make sure you're conveying what you think you're conveying. And sometimes you're surprised, sometimes you're disappointed. But in any case, that's what I'm doing today. And I just wanted to drive the point home that when you buy something, you cannot rely on just tax records that you may find on your own. It's really all about what that deed says and what that legal description is, whether it's a meets and bounds method in the eastern United States, meaning east of the Mississippi, or whether it is a block and lot system. All deeds have legal descriptions, regardless of what system they use to describe a piece of property and what's being conveyed. But that is the nail in the coffin. That is the fat lady singing. That is the period at the end of the sentence. That legal description. It doesn't matter what kind of picture you found. And frankly, a survey takes a legal description and they take pictures to each point that is being described too. So unless it's a survey, and frankly a survey done by a qualified licensed surveyor, you really can't rely on a picture. You've got to rely on these points that are measured out and conveyed to each landowner in the future, however many times it's been conveyed. Pictures don't matter, the words do. So, happy Friday. I probably don't need any more bourbon, but I'm probably going to drink some more while I do this. I hope you all have a great weekend, and thanks for watching. Leave your comments, questions, and all that kind of stuff below. And if I can ever help you buy or sell some real estate, I'd love to do it. Until then, adios.